Today I want to talk a little bit about the place of heaven and what's waiting for you in heaven. You know, people have a vision of heaven. Even unsaved people would like to believe that they're going to end up there someday. But they really don't know what it's about. I mean, do I become like a cloud bouncing around against each other and with a smile on my face? It's always an imagination because they really haven't read of what God would describe heaven to be a place of. But let me tell you what heaven is not. Heaven is not a place where people go to get their wings. Angels never become humans, and humans never become angels that are looking out after us in this earthly place. They're two totally separate creations of God, and they'll stay that way. Except for humans that accept Christ, we're told that in heaven we will receive new bodies, eternal bodies. But when you ask about the place of heaven and what's in store for you, the answer would be better placed, what's in your storage. In 2 Corinthians 4:18 it says, while we look at the things which are seen, but the things that are not seen. For the things that are seen are temporal, but the things that are not seen are eternal. The word temporal is temporary, earthly. Paul looks at this life and says it's like a vapor. 1 minute it's there, and then it just disappears. That's how fast life passes by. If you want to know where you are right now, it's easy. Take a look around you, where you are in life. And I want you to count how many things that feed your spirit. How many of these things are there around you right now? If you were to dump out your wallet, dump out your purse, what would be pouring out? To count how many things feed your spirit, all you have to do is look at the spiritual things that you place around you. And these spiritual things that are placed around you are in a form of the spiritual things you're storing up, that you're living your life. If there is a lot of temporary things around you, earthly things, things for flesh, things for pleasure, then that's being described by God as temporary, and they don't have any value for His purpose at all. 2 Corinthians 5:15 says this, and that He died for all, this is Jesus, that they that live should not be from this point forward living for themselves, but they should be living to Him that died for them and rose again. How you evaluate your place with Christ is the way you are surrounding your life. Are you living for Him from the point that you accepted Him? Or are you living for yourself? 2 Corinthians says we were supposed to be living for Him. You gave your life to Him. You asked Him to live through you. The best way to divide this is to say anything around you that is of temporary or earthly value is to live or to benefit yourself or your flesh. But anything that is eternal or spiritual value is to live for Christ, the person that died for you. Philippians 2:8 says, being fashioned as a man, He humbled Himself and became obedient to death, even death of the cross. God became man and complete God. Yet He humbled Himself of that God position to the point that He gave His life and died on the cross. That's the price that was paid for you. That is what is supposed to be in store for you. So what is in your storage, and how do you gauge whether you're closer to the pig pen or closer to the Father's house? Look in your storage. Is there a lot of temporary earthly products, or is there a lot of spiritual eternal products? In Luke 6:44 it says, every tree is known by its fruits. How do I know? People that I meet, people that I'm surrounding myself with. How do I know who I'm having fellowship with? Well, in the book of Luke, it says, just take a look at their fruit. If they're producing earthly fruit, then you're dealing with a corrupt tree. And you probably shouldn't be around that. But if they're dealing and showing eternal fruit, fruit of value to God, then it's probably going to be something good to be near your life. You see, in heaven, you get there not because of anything you did. The price was paid for you by the King. But don't get me wrong, you do bring a lot to the table. Now, what do you bring to the table? It reminds me of a story of a king and his feast. He makes a proclamation out to all the people of the land, rich or poor. Come to my feast. It's going to be a great celebration. You're all invited. So the wealthy people take that message and say, great. I'm going to get dressed up and I'm going to show up there, but I do got to bring something. One wealthy guy brings a pile of stones that he wants to fashion into some statuary that he thinks the king is going to be pleased with. Another wealthy guy brings a pile of sticks, and he thinks that he can weave them into something of a mat that the king will love to sit on. And another guy decides, I'm going to bring a pile of hay because I can block it up and turn it into a chair. I think he's going to really like this, and at least I didn't come empty-handed. The poor people take this message of something different. I'm going to look around my house and I'm going to look at the best I can give them because I've never been to a rich man's house before. It's got to be a beautiful place and I don't want to be embarrassed of my presence there. One guy, the farmer, he decides to pull together a basket of his best fruit, best product that he has. Another guy, a pillow maker, stuffs some of the finest down into a piece of cloth and makes it as full as he can and beautiful for the king to sit on. Another guy, a rug maker, decides that he is going to weave the most beautiful art with the finest material of wool and sheep and the softest that will be of such comfort the king will be pleased with him. The night of the feast comes, they all gather up their things, they go to the castle. They enter in and everybody is impressed. This is a fine place. It is beautiful. They all gather to the feast, come in, and bring their gifts with them. And they are sitting at this table with the gifts next to them, ready to present to the king. The king now enters the feast hall. He looks to everybody in this hall and he says, "You are all welcome. Thank you for coming and coming to my invitation personally. I see that you have all brought gifts for me. All those gifts that you have brought with you to present to me, I want you to know that this is an eternal feast. You all get to stay in my castle forever. Those gifts that you brought with you, I want you to enjoy them for yourself, because what you brought with you, you will be spending eternity on." You see, a lot of people thought they could come to the king's celebration and get away with nothing. In fact, the least that they would have to offer. Come to find out that what they brought, they would be spending eternity sitting on. And I can tell you, the guy with the pile of rocks, the person with the pile of sticks, and the guy with the hay bale was experiencing a pretty terrible eternal existence. This is what you bring to the table. Don't be fooled. The produce in your life has a lot to do with what you bring to heaven. The price of heaven has already been paid for. But what are you producing in your life that you're going to be able to bring to the king and say, "You gave me new life. My life I'm returning to you as a gift, and this is what it is." In Philippians 1:21 it says, For to me to live is Christ, and to die is gain. This is Paul. Paul says he's poured all that he had into his spiritual life, and he left nothing for himself. His earthly life had no value to him. It was really only valuable to those that were being fed and taught by him. Where Paul wanted to be was with his king. That was his eternal value. You know, some may be finding out for the first time that they're on the pigpen road and they didn't even know it. There is hope for you. I was there. You need to come home now. This is food that I've provided for my family for years. I'd like to provide this for you. I hope you'll share it with a friend. If you like it, I'll provide more. Thank you for listening, and God bless you.